to run the route and get over to YouTube or whatever it has to do. And so far, it hasn't even popped up. So
Francisco's our one in there.
yeah, he's probably come and gone by now. There it goes. Took it a minute.
What's that?
I didn't mute you. I needed to mute the echo there. Oh, it's big weekend for some people, so they may all be out looking for some. Oh, speaking of looking for something, look here what found its way to my home last night.
I can't see it. There it is.
It says Powers.
3 Swallow.
It's an Irish whiskey.
Irish whiskey.
Yep.
I never heard of that one.
Single pot still. Me either, but I have. Actually, I had some of this last year or this year sometime.
Hey, there's Ian.
Hey, buddy. Welcome in. He stuck his head in the door maybe last weekend for just a minute or two. He's been sick, I think.
Well, I hope he's feeling good now. Ian, I hope you're feeling good, buddy.
He might be. I don't know if they're snowed in. He might be snowed in. I heard Denver got a big load of snow. I know he's a little out north. I think he's a little north of Denver. But
it's a never-ending sea. Now it goes from Fort Collins all the way down.
Oh,
clear to Pueblo almost.
Of course, I keep forgetting Denver's kind of far east. Carol, good morning, ma'am. How are you and welcome? Are you ready for your big game today? Tennessee had a good game last night. Mike Cabral. Hey, look here, buddy. I got donuts again this morning. For all you know, this might just be the empty box I got one time and just keep using it. But so to prove that I've got donuts, look here. Of course, I could also be saving the donuts. You never know. They might be hard as bricks.
You might have varnished them by now.
Don't give away all them secrets. I dipped them in varnish and let them drip dry. That way I can have donuts from Mike every weekend from now on. Oh, mercy. How are everybody? Ian? Hopefully you're still here. How are you feeling? That may be his silence, may be his answer.
Ohio State's playing.
Ohio State's
playing.
Michigan,
I assume, is playing.
Yeah, they're playing TCU, Texas Christian, and Ohio State's playing Alabama.
Who did
Tennessee walked Clemson last night?
Did they whoop up on them?
31-13.
Nice.
It was nice. They beat
Alabama not very long ago.
Yes, they did. Last night was the Orange Bowl, and they beat them there. So I'm curious to see when this all shakes out. At the end of the year. I'm curious to see where they finish.
Well, everybody gets to play in a bowl now. It seems like.
Yeah.
And Wyoming played OU, Ohio University, the Bobcats.
I missed that game. I saw that.
Well, it was streamed on some weird streaming service, and we just darn near missed it entirely.
Thank you, Carol. That's right. Yay for Tennessee's win. Mike's got donuts.
But we lost to OU, so.
Oh, did you?
Just barely. It was in overtime.
I don't think I saw that game. I think I missed it. Hey, Diana, I didn't say hi to you, but good morning. which reminded me of something. There's been a couple of really good games on the last couple of days. There's been some. I mean, last night's game against Tennessee sounds like a blowout, but it was a decent game. A lot of action in it. A lot of beating up on one another. I mean, they play hard. But somebody played earlier yesterday, and it was a really it was probably Notre Dame and who was that? Notre Dame and South Carolina. And South Carolina had them beat to right to the very end, and I think they lost as on a field goal or something. Look here, Carol. Here's the cat brush. There's a few gray hairs in it. You missed this. I didn't have a hairbrush down here, so I used the cat brush. But I actually used a person brush today to comb it. I just washed it this morning, so I figured Teddy might not want me using his. I came down here, sat down Thursday night, and my hair looked like I'd been in a tornado. The only thing I had handy was Teddy's hairbrush, which I had cleaned out, just recently. I figured if it's good enough for my buddy, it's good enough for me, right, Ted? Is that right? You want to say hi to anybody? Not yet. He's still deep in second naps. He takes naps on like hobbits eat. Second breakfast, second naps, second lunch, second nap, afternoon naps. Good morning, Dean the Turkey Legislator, and Happy New Year to you too. Well, there's my wife.
Good morning, Miss Pruitt.
She's been a little under the weather. I think she's feeling better this morning. She talks about like you do.
I'm auditioning for Froggy, so.
Yeah, how many people know who that is? And I can't remember his real name or his last name. I think after a while he just became known as Froggy.
I don't know. He had a real name.
Well, not a public one. Hey, there's the caffeinated misfit, which Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda, how are you doing? You're awake. Well, aren't you usually caffeined up? You ought to be awake. Dean, how are you this morning? You not going to work, I don't think. But then again, I might be wrong. Brenda knows who Froggy is. Well, that's because you're my age.
I just remember he used to say he was the announcer at the He-Man Woman Haters Club, and he used to call the meeting to order.
Usually I don't get home from work until 2 a.m. I was asleep by then this time. Oh, okay. Well, we're glad to have you. There was also a Froggy, and I don't know if he was the same guy growing up on some of the westerns, the B westerns of that time. I don't know if he was usually with Gene Autry, or if he was sometimes on with Roy Rogers, or he might have bounced back and forth, but he had a real croaky voice too.
I don't remember him.
Don't remember him? Oh. Mm-hmm. I'd have to find him. I don't remember it. I think they called him.
I didn't watch much Gene Autry or Roy Rogers. They didn't rerun it where I lived.
Well, I've seen more after I got a little bit older, and they reran them here.
We only had 2 channels for a long time. So.
Oh yeah, well, I'd savvy that. We had 2, and then we had 3 in Johnson City for a long time, and then every once in a while we'd pick up Asheville if the wind was blowing right.
We could watch, I don't know, one of the major networks. I don't remember which one, and then we got PBS, and that was it. 2 channels.
Well, good to hear that, Dean. I'm going to do something I don't usually do, and I'm going to And that is, I don't know who we've got here that's who's Catholic, but sorry to hear about the Pope if you are. I'm sure that, or the ex-Pope, I should say. Maybe that does or does not bother anybody, but I mean, since he's ex, but that was sad. And then, we lost a couple more this week.
Not the sitting Pope, though, was it?
Not the sitting Pope, so they don't have to go through all that black smoke, white smoke thing. This was the one that retired a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the news. They were all over the news with it. They announced, I heard it last night at some point, they announced it. And I say all this like I'm a fan, Pope follower, but I'm not. I just saw it and know that will affect some people much more than it does me. And then Barbara Wawa died. Barbara Walters, otherwise known as Barbara Walters. You may know where the Barbara Wawa came from. It was a Saturday Night Live skit they used to do that they had somebody, who it was, Jane Curtin? Or who else? There was another lady on there.
It was after Jane Curtin, I think.
But anyway, somebody used to dress up kind of like Barbara Walters, and they do interviews, which is what she was famous for. Hey, Flipper, welcome in, buddy. Hadn't seen you in a while. Anyway, on the new Saturday Night Live, they called her Barbara Wawa. Now live from somewhere, Barbara Wawa. Jason, you know what? Thank you, Carol, because while I wasn't going to admit it, I didn't remember. I couldn't think of his name. Of course, I couldn't think of Rhonda's either for a minute. Obviously, I've not had enough coffee yet. Yeah, another interesting thing I learned during the Christmas festivities, Carol got her some Death Wish coffee.
Oh, cool. I got to go holler at the dog. I'll be right back.
You'll holler. While Mark's out beating his dogs, how's yours, Mike? Did they get to go walking in the freshly shoveled driveway? Well, I started making mine about 6:30 this morning. It seemed like it took me forever, but I did take a shower in the middle of that. So everything takes me forever these days. I used to be able to hop in and out of a shower in like 5 minutes, and now I can't do that because I can't hop anywhere in 5 minutes. Much less in and out of the tub. Now, did you just change shirts or put on a different shirt?
Who?
You. Oh, now I can see it. It looked dark, and I couldn't see the.
It is dark.
Yeah, but it's.
I got a scarf on too, because
I see that.
That's what keeps your body heat in this godforsaken climate.
It's cowboy western wear kind of thing, huh? Hey, Tina. Wow, you guys are up and rolling early this morning. You got something big planned for the day? Tina and Jason Flipper's pool. They're a cohabitating couple. They're married with a house full of kids, I think. 2 girls and a boy, I believe. Been a while since I've seen them. I hope you guys had a good Christmas and have a happy New Year planned. Okay, his name was Frog Millhouse, Mark.
Frog Millhouse.
Smiley Burnett had kind of a weird voice. He kind of did that role. It looks like the movies he was in were primarily Gene Autry movies, so that's probably who he ran with. I knew I'd seen him, in somebody's movies in particular. Brenda's
asking me about curly-haired horses. I've never seen one. I've seen pictures of them now, but I personally have never seen one.
Well, don't let her fool you. She hadn't either till the other night.
Well, I got rolled up horses.
Yeah, that's true. They look kind of curly.
They look like Mongolian ponies right now.
You see what she said, though? She wanted to know if you're going to get her one.
I saw that part.
And that was good. That was a good graze right on past it, brother.
I
You
just
clocked
hopped, I
well in there.
hopped over that part.
You did. And you did that well. I got to give you credit.
I bet they, if they, especially if they're becoming a new thing, I bet they're expensive.
Yeah, probably are.
All of them are, but some more than others.
Funny about that. Horses are the same as they always were, but the price went up. Apartments are the same as they always were, but the price went up.
Yep.
Cars ain't what they always were.
Feed's way high.
Do what?
Feed's way high.
Oh, yeah. How's beef out your way? Is beef expensive or fairly reasonable still in your country? Or you
It's
eat much
good.
beef?
It's good here. But I mean, we got lots of it around.
That's what I meant. That's why I wondered. They got to bring ours from out there, so I guess they figure they can charge us extra for it.
Well,
Although that's not true.
They probably grow more down by Dean's house than out here.
Actually, they grow more down by Dean's house than they do in Texas.
Right.
I don't know if Texans like to admit that, but that is a true fact.
Well, it's so much more, productive country.
It's green and the grass grows all the time, constantly.
Yep.
Unlike Texas, where it grows a little bit once in a while.
Now they have pretty bad parasite problems and things down there in Florida, but that we don't have to deal with.
Well, that makes sense. Man, that is a good cup of coffee this morning. Wow. That is really good.
Billy Laughlin played the role of Froggy.
Billy Laughlin. Well, that's not what it said on here.
No, that's the one that played Froggy on the Little Rascals.
Oh, did it? Okay, you looked him up, Brenda. What does it say happened to him?
Probably something awful.
That could be.
Well, they like a whole bunch of them died in weird murders, and Alfalfa was murdered, and I think Froggy died early.
Oh, that's possible. Let me see. I've got him pulled up. Well, no, that's a different Froggy. Brenda, you have to tell us if you already got it looked up.
And he always talked like that.
Yeah.
Spolly Ollie, Spolly Ollie, Spolly Ollie. And then the boys would all answer something like zoogie, 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 zoogie.
Oh my god! Anybody else in here grow up watching Little Rascals? Especially if you got to see the old ones. Although they may not play those much anymore. That's probably not correct. Well, Dean said, I wasn't paying attention. What do I grow? We were just saying that they raise a lot of beef cattle in Florida now, Dean. In fact, they grow more beef cattle in Florida than they do in Texas, even though Texans would like you to think otherwise.
Well, I mean, they've always been a big beef cattle state.
Yeah, that's where the term cracker came from.
Yep.
Actually.
And those cracker horses that they ride down there, which are kind of a neat little horse. I wish I had one.
He was also born with crossed eyes, Brenda said.
He was born. He had big old, great, big, thick glasses.
That's true, he did.
Anytime I hear about Coke bottle bottom glasses,
you think of him?
I think of his eyes. Yep.
Let's see. If I missed anybody, Tina, I got Tina. I got Rhonda. I got Dean. Well, this is a good whole crowd here today. Tina said she watched them somewhat, but her husband watched them quite a bit. I watched them as a kid. Of course, unlike Mark, we grew up with 2 or 3 channels were all we ever got on a TV, so it just really depended on what they showed. But now, Little Rascals and some cartoons were things they showed filled time with a lot. Of course, they also went off every night at midnight and came back on about 6 in the morning or so.
They got that test that. Yeah, with the Indian head on it.
Yeah, they just sat there and went boo all night long. That test screen. I always wondered. I guess that was for. I don't know if that was supposed to be for your home TVs or something. They did it with their cameras. I don't know. Dean said, "Okay, he's heard about cattle down there. Cattle in Florida is a big, big deal. I wonder what kind of issues they deal with as far as cattle waste in those feedlots and stuff down there. If they do it that way, they may not do it that bunch them up in that way, but I know that is a problem in places because the runoff from that can be pretty devastating in streams." So Rhonda says, "So if you had fallen asleep in front of the TV, you were awake with nothing to watch now." Yes, that's true. That's very true. You woke, like we said, you woke up to a test screen. It looked like a bullseye kind of a screen with a bunch of numbers on it and an Indian's head right in the middle of the screen, which now that I think at it, it's kind of weird, but that was the test screen. It came on at midnight, went off after it went off. Local channels went off where we were about time Johnny Carson would go off. Oh, that was the wrong. I'm sorry, Tina. That is the wrong Tina. My bad. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that, Flipper. There's the train.
807,000 times a day, whether we need them or not.
Sorry about that, Jason. Yes, I did, Tina. So I apologize. I should have. I didn't get the right Tina. I just looked and saw Tina and saw Flipper, and I just added up 2 and 3, and somehow I still got 4. So now we're back on the right track. What did Dean just said something? They used to grow a lot of celery around where I'm at. It's all houses and stuff. Now, well, we got that problem here too. Tim's trying to break up 2 marriages. 2 marriages at once there, Carol.
Ian's asking if they're still hauling coal. You betcha.
Are they out there? I hardly ever see a coal train now back here.
Yeah, they're still burning coal here. Still,
yeah.
They're trying to regulate them down to nothing, but it's gonna. We won't have very many people employed around here if the mines shut down.
I didn't think coal was your big thing there, though. I thought they were mining other things there in your area.
Well, we've got Trona mines just east of us here where they make all the glass for the world. And you know, borax, 20 mule team borax and that kind of stuff, and laundry detergent, and then we've got some big coal mines, giant coal mines in Wyoming.
Ian says that train runs by my parents' house in Castle Rock. I don't know. Is that true? I mean, does that go? I don't know where Castle Rock is right off. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I just didn't know if that'd be a different rail.
Well, our line, the line I'm on, goes to Lincoln, Nebraska, and probably points east. It goes out to the West Coast in Oregon, and it goes all the way to Lincoln.
See you, Dean. Have a great happy birthday party for your grandmother. Tell her we all said hi. Happy birthday. Oh, Ian says it's south of Denver. But it probably does come from up there. Chuck and I are old, like Tina and Jason, aunt and uncle. Well, if you're old, so are we. So am I. Oh gosh. Sorry, guys. I got to stand up a minute. Okay, there's one that goes to New Mexico too. You know, I like railroads, and I think railroads are really cool. But I got to tell you, I didn't always have the best experiences with working with the railroad. We always seems like I always ended up dealing with railroad people that weren't halfway worth shooting. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. They were terrible about never calling you back. They still, to some degree, act like they own the country, and even though they don't own near it like they used to. There's a dog. I hear a dog. Or am I wrong? Oh, he's muted.
Yeah, you heard dogs. Wife got up and brought a couple more out.
It's impossible to get fired from the railroad, so you get a lot of idiots. You know, I've heard that before, Rhonda. You might be right, I'm afraid. I do know that's pretty much true. I knew some guys that worked for the railroad, but I've known some good guys that did. But man, I tell you what, some of them, I tell you what they used to do. They used to come across our property. There used to be a spot in my district or my area where we had a big field that was ag that we still leased out for hay crops and we had a guy that leased it out. He paid good money for it, but there was a siding on his property where they could unload equipment onto the tracks to do work like those, and they also put those. That's where it was a place where they put those railroad trucks, the kind that can pump down wheels and run the rails if they need to. You know what I'm talking? You see those out there?
Every day.
Okay. Well, they had those guys, and that's where they would put their trucks on when they were doing inspection work or whatever. Well, this field had a big lock on it. And it was mainly because this farmer if he left his equipment over there, which he did because it was a long way to haul it every day, he'd get people that would go in there. Two things happened. One, hoodlums would go in there and just cut donuts in the fields because that's a favorite thing for hoodlums to do. Probably beer involved in that too, I imagine. And but they'd also, cut his tires on his tractor or shoot him full of holes, and that gets pretty expensive after a while. Man, he used to call me just absolutely mad than a wet hornet and want me to, by God, get that fixed. And what usually happened was the railroad guys would come through and cut the locks off. And they were all issued a key for that thing, but they would invariably cut his lock off and go in and out of the gate rather than use their key. Anyway, it used to be let's put it this way. There was a lot of legs got peed on during those kind of situations.
We got guys that, not too many of them anymore, but used to leave gates open and let livestock out on the railroad. And then they get to be dead livestock pretty soon.
As in hit by
a train.
Yeah. Did the railroad pony up for that, or did they just act like it wasn't their fault?
They pay fair market value, whatever the price of beef or sheep or horses or whatever.
Many years ago, it's probably not this way today, and maybe it's never been this way out your way, but I don't know this. My dad hit a beef cow, I think, although I'm not positive, in a car on a road back in Greene County, when he was a young man. And I guess he killed the cow. I don't know. She probably did. Anyway, when he took it to his insurance guy to talk about it, they just said, "Nah, we're not going to pursue it." He said, "We'll just fix your car and let it go." He said, "You can't, you can't win those fights around here." Those farmers had so much say in. I mean, they were all the economy mostly in those some of those rural communities, and chances are the judge was too. And he didn't want to. He didn't want to make that guy pay a fine that he didn't want to pay. So it ended up just the insurance companies would just shake their heads and take care of it. Same thing happened to another friend of mine when I was in high school, and they pretty much did the same thing. That was about 30 years later. So I don't know how it would go today.
Well, we still got a lot of open range out here. So you got livestock on highways regular anyway. And this is by law a fence out state, they call it. So if you don't want your neighbor's cows on you and you don't have a fence,
It's your fault.
you got to build one. Yeah, if you don't want him grazing your property. So, and sometimes your neighbor's cattle get over and graze a little bit, and even when you got a fence,
Like you.
like me.
Eat your alfalfa.
Come over and visit us. Yeah.
I got to back up here for a minute. Rhonda's getting poached here. I missed some of that comment. It's impossible to get fired from the railroad. I saw that. I worked in a van service once, and our office was in the yard tower. The rail yard tower? I guess you mean like the control tower. And the guys up in the tower kept trying to poach me. I kind of regret not going. Would that have been in, where did you live there? Where would you have been back then in with the railroad? Ohio? Me and my pesky loyalty. Yeah, don't ask my wife about that. I talked her into being loyal one time, and then she got the boot right after that. Made her mad at me and me mad at them. Main yard in Atlanta. Man, I bet that's a big yard too. I mean, the one they had back during the Civil War when they filmed Gone with the Wind, back during the war and the Battle of Atlanta, that was all done live, back then. And that railroad yard looked huge, and that was 1864 or early 1865. I can't remember when they burned Atlanta. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. They share it between Norfolk Southern and CSX. We deal a lot. These guys are CSX guys that we were dealing with mostly, I think. They do share some stuff up here with, well, it may be Norfolk Southern, actually. And I think there's still maybe I shouldn't. There used to be a Asheville and Louisville line that ran through here, and I think they still do, but I'm not positive about that. We had 2-yard vans we ran, and then the cross country vans to switch crew. Oh, you were hauling their engineers and whatnot around. Okay. That's another reason I'm mad at the railroads, though. They got rid of their cabooses, so they don't have the brakemen anymore back there like they used to riding along. Sorry to be so dense, Rhonda. I finally figured out what you were talking about. We used to they may still have van service that runs our former employees, people I worked with. They used to run them from Knoxville to Chattanooga all the time. And Nashville, I guess. Office manager and night dispatcher. So you've worked at nights before. This work until 2 a.m. is not an entirely new thing for you. You don't notice any denseness. Anyway, I thought I saw something else I was going to bring up, and now, okay, Tina's talking about something. She said it was 1994 for Cimarron Coach, if that sounds familiar. Maybe. Not positive if it does, but it might. 1994, though, I was back in school, so I was between jobs back in 1994. You must have been a school child in 94. Well, I started asking dumb questions, so I won't. But I guess they don't haul. I guess they don't haul any passengers, employees, or otherwise in any way, do they? I don't think a locomotive has any extra seats, and they don't have a caboose anymore. Just a red light flashing back there. Well, they aren't allowed to be on the train after a certain amount of time hits the van services, even if they aren't working. Hey, I figured that, Rondine, which is a shame. It's too bad they can't they didn't keep a few passenger cars so they can, move their workers around for cases like that. But that's how it goes. We had people that worked just a little different system, but we had guys that worked. TVA has a tug that repairs things with TVA on the water and puts in buoys in some places. Mostly the buoys are Coast Guard takes that on major waterways, but TVA had a one they could put in certain buoys in some of the reservoirs and things, which might have been ours, and other maintenance stuff. But it was a big old boat, and it's called the Side View, and we got to take one trip on it. But those guys work like a week at a time, or maybe 2 weeks shifts at a time. They're on the boat; they never come off the boat, and then they'll land somewhere like Chattanooga. Let's just say, and those guys, they'll do a rotation, and those guys that are on the boat have to find a way to get home. They usually plan to put cars in places so they can do that, but I thought, wow, that's pretty inconvenient. I don't know how TVA handled that. And if they worked a certain amount of hours, they have to have X number of hours downtime at the hotel. Yeah, that's like truck drivers, kind of, I guess. They're supposed to do that too, although a lot of them don't. Airline pilots, they're pretty tight about airline pilots doing that. Got to have that downtime. If we didn't have an available van for a crew, we had to call a taxi. Wow. Okay. Did you guys? Well, I don't know how that worked. Did you guys have to pay for that taxi out of your company's money, or did they cover that too? I know nobody probably else is interested in that conversation, but I like to know how things work. They didn't get them off the train into the car in time. They got fined and passed that on to us. I guess I can see that. So let me ask a question then, Rhonda. Did they literally have to sit on the train until you brought a van? Okay, I got you. Let me tell you a fun story that we had one time. I didn't know that, Rhonda. I just thought they'd get off and come into the locomotive engineers coffee room and sit around till the new guys got there, and they'd load them up and they'd go. This is why you see trains stopped in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that makes sense. And every once in a while around here, we do see that. I mean, I've seen it out west too, actually, now that I think about it. Run them to the end of their time. Okay. Interesting. If any normal businesses run like Norfolk Southern, that fall so fast. Yeah, probably. We had a service for a while. Well, it wasn't really our service, but when I was still in Nashville, they had a company contacted us, or a group contacted us. They were going to do ferry service. Excuse me, air taxi service, I guess you'd call it, from Fort Campbell. It seems like there was another location, maybe Fort Knox, but Fort Campbell was primarily where they were going. And they would transport soldiers from Fort Campbell back down to Nashville for flights out and different things. And I'm not sure what the criteria was for them getting on board a plane. I don't know if they were paying for that or if the military gave them that, but because they were traveling. But anyway, when they were flying, if they flew civilian, which I reckon these guys were, they might have been coming down for the guard too, to work with the guard unit we had there. But anyway, this little mini airline set up there flying planes back and forth out of Nashville, and most of it was at night. Or no, they were down during the night, because that's why they came to us and asked us to put on a small crew for them to do maintenance on their planes during the daytime. So we did for a little while. Well, this company was making a lot of money doing that, and then they come to find out maybe that wasn't all they were doing. So one night I was down in my hangar working night shift too, and we were working, and all of a sudden the guys from up in the other hangar showed up. I said, "What's going on, guys?" And they were like, "Well, we kind of got shut down up there." And I said, "What do you mean you got kind of shut down up there?" And they said, "Well, we walked out in the hangar after lunch break, and there was a whole semicircle of FBI and DEA agents with loaded guns pointing at us." And they said, "We just stopped right there," which is what they should have done. Come to find out, those guys were making a lucrative profit, not just hauling soldiers, but hauling some sort of illegal narcotics. And so that DEA was there to confiscate their airplanes and look for evidence, I guess. Of course, we had to do some explaining that we weren't involved, that we just did their maintenance. And as far as I know, none of our guys ever found anything. But on the plane, I'm pretty sure they would have told somebody if they had. But it certainly was startling. I told them, Mark, they walked out on the hangar floor and to a semicircle of armed DEA agents all pointing right at them. It was like submachine gun. Half of them had submachine guns. And I mean, they assaulted the place, like they were hitting the cartel or something. And my guy said they just about, sold their knickers and then had to walk back inside and, get a breath. Let me catch up here a minute. Military has negotiated rates usually. Yeah, they did. Well, we were a so-called government agency, Tina, but we had to pay our own bills. We didn't get any federal money. Uh-oh, Mark's got to go out. But we couldn't keep afloat. We were sunk. Yeah, it's all fun and games until the FBI and DEA show up, especially if they show up and then somebody loses a lung or a kidney or a appendage to a few 9mm rounds or something. But they were a bit shaken. I'll just put it that way, and certainly not stirred. So, anybody got any big plans for New Year's night? I don't, unless I drink a half a bottle of, unless I decide to drink, you know, some of this new Irish whiskey I got here for Christmas, I might add. My good old buddy Philip brought it up and gave it to me last night. It's highly appreciated. And I'm quite sure we'll be well treated and enjoyed. And I've cracked it to sniff it, but I hadn't had it yet, so probably wait till at least after lunch. Yeah, it is, Mike. Look, in fact, I don't know if you can see it very well, but man, he had the coolest bottle. Somebody had given him a bottle of something, or maybe he bought it, and he was going to try, and it was a glass bottle, but it was square. And it was real clean looking, not a lot of writing on it, or stamped letters or whatever. I think this bottle's neat. It kind of looks like a medicine bottle. But his had a glass stopper in it, so when he emptied it, you could use it as a decanter. It was already set up with a glass stopper and everything, so he was ready to go. I told him, I said, if you don't want that, I'll be glad to take it off your hands. I used to have a ship's decanter, the kind with the big wide base, and then, a thinner neck so it didn't spill as easily on board ship. I don't know what happened to it. Cannot find it. I think it must have gotten broken and nobody told me. Diana says she's going to the in-laws, but pretty sure they won't make it till midnight. You're sleeping off New Year's Eve, so New Year's Day you're sleeping off New Year's Eve. Is that what you're saying, Tina? You guys have been up past midnight all week, Diana. Yeah, we have too. I stayed up way too late last night. We tried to close early, but corporate won't let us. Oh, that sucks. And Carol says we're doing our little family game night celebration. Afterward, I'll be watching Monarch Moments if they go. They said something about that last night, didn't they, Carol? I mean, I just caught that. I was in there, but I missed part of what they said. I think their midnight is after hours. Yeah, Tina, you and I are both on Eastern time, so I know their midnight's after hours. I think they're on Central time. I'm not positive about that, Diana, but are you guys on Central time or Eastern time? I was thinking it might take a big bow to the west up there. I have a feeling my manager is going to close anyway. He's been having me tell people we close at 11 when they ask. Well, that's good. I think they're going to be live until the West Coast New Year. Do you know when they're going live? Admit it, Tim. You wanted to see what that thing was that Michelle made. I didn't. Did Michelle make some? Oh no, Tina. I have to admit I don't know, but you're probably right. Was she cooking? Because that's always usually a surprise. I didn't know what they were doing last night. Honestly, I missed the first part. I forgot to look that up too. Let me see if I can find them. She was doing something cooking. Crap. I'm reading the book, a new book, another book. shoot, now they've already got their new one up. Have you ever seen people online with pets, caracals? That's not right. Is it caracal? Yeah, it is caracal. I think the cat from the desert cat that jumps so high and everything. Isn't that a caracal? Hello? I don't hear you. Do you not hear me? You not hear me?
Oh, I got you now.
Okay. Is it? You know what?
Issues. What are we talking about?
Well, I was talking about a caracal, the cat.
Those cats
Yeah, I
that
see people online that have those things as pets.
have become like new animals, and that there's thieving and selling in the pet trade.
Yeah, but I look at those things and they're beautiful. But I'm telling you something, buddy. I've been bit by a cat or two. I wouldn't want to be bit by that cat. They got some big old chompers.
Well, and they're taking them out of the wild and
yeah, I know. That's what I figured.
Selling them illegally.
I think I've seen some kind of
those servals too.
Yeah, they sure do.
They get in trouble more with them because they're a spotted cat.
Pork stuffed into a pineapple wrapped in bacon. Oh my goodness. Go look at Michelle's IG post. I will, Carol. Is it well, last year they stayed on, or you guys stayed on until Hawaii, which is 6 hours. That'd be 6 a.m. our time. I'm not that young anymore. Anyway, I see these caracals online, and I'm thinking, God, man, those guys, I mean, they act like they're mad all the time anyway. They hiss and carry on. And if they decided to turn, I mean, this guy really likes me, and every once in a while he turns around and grabs my thumb in his mouth. He kind of holds it. I wouldn't want one of them guys holding my thumb in their mouth. And then you go to Europe. I don't know where this is at, Eastern Europe or what, and they seem to have a penchant for big cats. I see a lot of lynxes over there seem to be in captivity, being treated like household pets. And then I see occasionally a panther pumas type something over there that's black, which could be a leopard, but it doesn't look that size. It looks more, I guess it looks more puma size. I'm looking at one right now, but I was looking at the head. The head might not look like a puma though. I don't know. I just can't imagine that thing getting pissed off at you. Pardon me. I mean, they got a mouthful of serious teeth.
What got you on this subject?
I don't know. I saw one on the side off my side vision because I was going to look for that thing she made, which was stuffed pineapple.
Why you were talking about caracals?
Well, I saw it, and then it made me think about people having them for pets and how big their tushes are. Because they got some serious. Maybe I'm talking about people having animals, wild animals that they should not have as pets. Maybe that's where I was going with that.
Well, they're really long-legged too. They're
a caracal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can jump about 15 feet in the air, I believe.
Yep.
I saw one at a zoo they were doing shows with, and he could sky, man. And hold up a feather, a tractor on the fishing pole kind of thing, way up in the air, and he'd jump up and get that thing every time.
There's the surf bomb.
Hey, John. Good morning.
Good morning, buddy.
I hope you've not been out chasing golf this morning.
I hope you've been fishing.
That would be good. So no test pattern from the Monarchs, Rhonda. No test pattern tonight, anyway. I'll put my whiskey back in my cardboard container. Keep all the goodness inside. Don't let the devil's part get out. That's what they used to call the part that would evaporate through wooden kegs. In the storehouses, they do lose a little bit every time in the kegs it comes through the wood. That's what somebody, I don't know where the name came from, but that's what they used to call the devil's portion. And somebody's got a bottle named that now, but I'll be back in a few. Dad calling. He just got here. You just got here, buddy. Ocean temps way down. Fish moving out. Man, you didn't get much of a fishing season this year, seems like. I bet John remembers test patterns in small towns. Oh. Now that Mark's gone, I can go back to Caracals. No, I'm opening it up. No. Don't want to talk about that right now. A lot of with all the stuff going on at Disney, there's a lot of talk there too. Where's Monarchs? They got down there going on at 11:45 p.m. So they're going on at 11:45 hour my time, and that'll be another 3 hours till their time. And then you don't know if they're going to stay on till Hawaii time or not. That'd be 6 hours. Whew. That's a long time. What will they do for that long? Ian remembers test patterns growing up in Los Angeles. Wow, that's interesting. I figured a place like Los Angeles would never go off. I mean, I guess they did. They went off because there wasn't anything back then to show. At least not in these small rural areas. Here's another squirrel or a traveling story. Oh, by the way, I asked Tina if she'd ever had an official year-long count of squirrels, and the number she gave me was like 4,000. So I don't think it was. I think that was an estimate. Oh, where's that going? Shoot, what did I start talking about? Test pattern. Oh, yeah, test patterns. When I used to, when I was finishing up my NP, I went over to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to do part of my engine stuff over there because they had a big engine shop with Piedmont and everything, and they had a school. They trained mechanics, so I went over there for a while. And I would drive 4,732 now. I'm proud of that number. Let's see if we can get it up to 5,000. I used to travel back and forth I'd go over there on a Monday morning, and that meant I had to get up like at 4 a.m. and take off. And I'd drive across the mountains and get to school about 9 o'clock, 8:30 or 9, something like that. And I used to be able to tune in on my radio some of the Midwestern super stations that were on back then, like WOWO out of Chicago or WOWO. What did I just say? Did I say WOWO? That's not what was the Chicago? WD. What was the channel in Chicago? Well, the one in Fort Wayne, Indiana, was WOWO, I think, or maybe it was a different call sign. It's been a long time. They were AM stations, so you could only pick them up after dark. But sometimes I could get that station out of Fort Wayne, and they'd be at 5 o'clock in the morning. They would be giving pork belly prices, and what else did they give? Maybe chicken, egg prices. I don't know if they did beef stuff then. Well, they might have done on the hoof prices. It was WGN. Well, no, WGN's TV, isn't it, Ian? That is Chicago, but that's TV. I don't think they're. I don't think that's one of those stations was WOWO because we called it Whoa Whoa. We could pick it up at night. I used to listen to it all the time at night. And maybe it was WLS in Chicago and WOWO out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I mean, they're probably still there, but like I said, I can only pick them up after dark when the other stations local stations they used to make local stations turn their power down at night or something, which some of those went off the air too after dusk. Quaint things they did in small town America. Tina, did we meet our squirrel quota for 2022? I should have told everybody if we met and then broke our quota, there'd be a bonus in everybody's check. I've been curious to see if anybody remembers it. Chuck says it was Whoa Whoa, and he used to listen to it too. Which one though, Tina? Does he remember which city that came out of? Was that the one out of Chicago, or is that Fort Wayne? Bella is trying to type. Teddy don't try to type. He's never. Oh, I won't say that. I start to say he's never gotten on my keyboard. I can't swear to that. Oh, that's exciting news. Sort of. I broke down and ordered a new computer the other day. Mine's, well, today it's working well. That's not been the case a lot lately. And I got to get a new and improved, better surge protector. Our power's been going on and off way too much. Man, when it goes off, this thing hits. It sounds like it threw a rod or something. You were right, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay, so maybe Chicago was WLS. Somebody's got their Google handy can look that up and see. Man, I learned all about the world listening to some of those stations. Oh, and KNOX out of St. Louis is where I learned all about hockey. Because I could pick that up and listen to it. I had no idea what some of the things were they were talking about, but I thought it was exciting. Like icing and those kind of things. I didn't know what that meant back then. But that's what happens when a Tennessee mountain boy starts learning all about, Canadian sport. Mike, did you grow up playing hockey on ponds or anything like that where you are? Of course it is, because you ordered a new one. Which part of that, Tina? About my computer acting up? Oh, because it's running well. Yeah. Mine just stops. It overheats and just shuts down. Well, sometimes when mine takes that big hit, when the power goes off, and around here it's real bad about going off, then coming on going off real quick. And boy, when it does that, this thing chatters, and then sometimes it takes it half a day to get back up and running. Sometimes I don't know if it's going to start at all. Sometimes I have to wrap it on the side. So I broke down and ordered one. And it might be probably the best computer I've ever had at home. So I hope it turns out to work better than this. I've bought a new camera, so the picture should be better. And because I'm having trouble with that too. It won't. My computer is starting to shut me down on little things it won't do anymore. Like it won't hit the next quality level on my camera, which it used to do every time. Now it won't do that at all. It just goes blank like this. See? Had you guys thinking I might not come back, didn't I? Did you see the screen? The multiple rainbow screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be handy. Rhonda, do you know if they do that for telephones? Because I know telephone people that stream with their telephones, I know heat's a problem, especially in Florida on those hot summer days. They really. I've been trying to figure out a way to make a thermal pad that would fit on the back of the camera to keep them cooler, but that would probably interfere with the gimbal. So I haven't pursued it too much. They make some material though that's really good for that. It holds water a long time during the day and will give you that evapo cooling like a swamp cooler out west. Oh, now we're talking. Speaking of test pattern, yeah, I put up a test pattern. Oh, do they? That's good, Rhonda. That might fix that. I didn't know that yet. That's good. I figured somebody would eventually. What you see out there?
Oh, I was looking to see if I had birds fly off real fast. I wondered what was chasing them.
Did you see?
Can you hear them? Hear me?
I hear you just fine. You don't hear me?
Yeah, I got you. We're fading in and out this morning for some reason. I had
Your satellite.
a northern shrike
Oh, did you?
kill an English sparrow on the front porch on Christmas Day, and sat right there in front of grandbabies and everything and ate it.
Did it hang it up?
Nope. Yeah,
I
I think it flew into a window and it just pounced on it.
Well, that's interesting.
Because they don't have big hooked talons, you know.
No, I know. That's why I always thought they hung their meat up to.
They do. They usually hang it on a barbed wire fence or a thorn or something.
Yeah. Harold remembers test patterns in black and white on road TV. Yours was a pretty rainbow one. I can make it black and white, I think. It did that to me the other day, too. The circle of life, kids.
Circle of life, kids. That's
Trust me.
Mine, they know about the circle of life.
I got a picture somewhere of one of his grandbabies, or I think it is, holding up two back straps out of an elk.
She's in a swimming suit standing on the counter.
Yeah. I don't know if I've got that downloaded or not.
I might be able to find it here.
I think where is it? It's a pretty good picture. Was that this year or was that a previous year?
That was just the other day.
Oh, okay. Well, this year.
Yeah, it literally was just like a week ago. I can't find it. Why can't I find it?
Well, I might find it here in a minute. Oh, Bella just minimized the stream. Well, go, Bella.
Boop.
Boop. Yeah, I might be able to get it now.
Didn't I send that to you?
Yeah, I've got it. I just don't know if I've got it on my computer. I've got it
There
on my
it is.
phone.
I don't know if this will work or not, but
Well, yeah, I can see it. I don't know if everybody else can or not. You tilt it, right?
there's like a little dark-haired granddaughter with meat.
There's also more meat, like red meat, laying on the countertop there.
And she just kept telling her daddy, "My gosh, look at this! Look at this! How red this meat is, Dad! It's gonna be wonderful."
Pardon us.
So yeah, they're heathens.
Okay, I'll do that, Rhonda. I don't know if I'm not sure about Rhonda, but I know Carol's a vegetarian, so no offense. Carol said she's adorable. I don't know if I can. Well, where'd he go? I don't see it. I don't know if I've told you about it lately, Mark, but the three-legged cat's starting to heal up and get moving around.
Was he back on the lam again, or is he got?
No,
they got him collected in a house?
They got him collected in the house. He's being well cared for now. He's not going to be roaming free.
That's good, because he'll just go wandering again.
Yeah, he will. If whoever shot him this time or kicked him, broke his arm, whatever they did to him, they'll probably do it again. Who knows if that was his previous owners or if that was just somebody out on the street. Somebody might have hit him with a car too. I don't know. But all I know is,
or he was up in the fan belt, or
yeah, that could have been the case. But I didn't see any kind of marks on him or anything like a fan belt jerked any hair out. But that's true. I've seen that happen before. That used to be a semi-regular occurrence. We used to have to look under the hood of the car all the time. Not us, but when I was growing up, we used to have to look under the hood of the car because that would happen. And boy, if they did get the belts, it usually killed them, and it usually took all the belts off the car.
Yeah, it's still pretty common occurrence out here with barn cats. Not here at our house, but here in Wyoming.
No, Tina had a beagle that used to mess with her computer, apparently. Okay, I missed it. I'm going to put that one up. Tina says that child wouldn't be too shocked by a bird catching and eating another bird.
No.
I asked Mike a question. We didn't have many rivers around us to play on. We played a lot of street hockey. Okay. I knew you would have answered me, but I just couldn't find it. I didn't know street hockey was a Canadian thing, though. I mean, can you be a real Canadian and play street hockey, or do you have to get on the ice at some point? Yeah, fan belts are hard on kiddies. That's very true.
Maybe their streets are covered in ice.
Oh, well, no, that's true. I didn't think of that. But
ours are regularly.
Do what? Yours are?
I said ours are regularly, so.
Yeah, but you live in a geographical anomaly.
Well, but so does Mike. Even more so.
Well, that's true, I guess.
I would have thought there would have been like a little old lake like every 50 yards up in that.
Well, that's why I thought he would be too, but I guess he lives in the.
Well, maybe they're in the prairie and not in the lake country.
Yeah, but even then, I thought they had potholes. Well, anyway, I always just heard stories about Canadian boys growing up playing hockey on frozen ponds and stuff. So, street hockey is a very Canadian thing. That's how you get tough. You can't play ice hockey in the summer. A lot of community centers have outdoor ice rinks too to play on. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Did you play ice hockey, Mike? Or do you? Or your boy? I'm trying to stretch, guys. Bear with me. Stupid leg. Maybe I should have opened that bottle of whiskey up this morning. I'm sitting on two cushions too. You'd think it wouldn't be hurting this morning. Shoot. On off. That's how my husband lost his eye. He was playing street hockey. Oh, wow. I didn't realize he was short one, Tina. Excuse me. I forgot to turn the speaker off or the mic off. My wife, if she's still listening, she'll scold me for that. Nina says Frozen Ponds is mainly outside of the city. Well, yeah, just that. We have lots of ice rinks at community centers in the city. Well, that makes sense. Mike got kicked off the hockey team when he was a younker. And how come, Mike? You care to tell us about that, or was that best left? Is that dog best left sleeping? Beat up everybody on the other team, Carol. Coach didn't appreciate me being inside the penalty box for the entire season. Well, I thought every hockey team had at least one guy that did that. I thought that was part of sometimes that seems part of the strategy. Kids I grew up played football. Snow, ice, didn't matter. Oh, did you, Rhonda? Is that in Ohio? Well, that's first for me, though, Mike. I don't think I've ever heard anybody tell me they got kicked off. I mean, you got to be pretty doggone mean to get kicked off a hockey team. Oh, the kids you grew up with played football. Well, yeah, we did too. I mean, softball, football, out in the barn lot, out in the field, whatever.
Sliding 2 cow patties.
Yeah. Use cow patties, dry cow patties for bases, or you can fly. You know, dry cow patties will fly much like a
frisbee.
Like a frisbee.
You pick them up and sail them forever. Dead rabbits too.
Yeah. Like I said, I was really
country kids aren't right in the head. We'd pick up dead rabbits off the road and sail them too.
Yeah, that's what we call flat roadkill back here. It's sail critters. Mine said he was really rough back in the day. Don't behave like that no more. Well, maybe sometimes. I want you on my side, Mike. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. I picked Mike. Yep, his retina got detached a few years later after we were married. He had it removed. That's interesting, Tina. I worked with a guy who had a detached retina, and they had to take his out too. After a couple years of that, it got, I guess, the chances of it getting worse than infected or causing him other problems was too great, so they took it out. My daughter's in that club too. She was born that way. She's just got her right eye. Her left eye is smaller than it should be, and it's just, it don't work. So
Ian said he was in the frisbee club.
Cool, Ian. Good times. I bet cow patties dry out faster out your part of the country too than they do back east. Rhonda forgot her laundry. Hopefully that's not down at the laundromat. Carol said, geez, Mike. Carol, this is a free zone here. Mike was young in his youth. We don't hold that against him. We love Mike, so we would never hold that against him. And if he wants to be a little rough now, that's okay too. I might be that way if I wasn't half so gimped up. Yeah, they said he could develop a tumor back there. Yeah, I think that's what he said. And that's what they've always been concerned with about Kelly's eye for some reason, that there's at least a few, after she was born, for a few years they checked her regularly for that. But maybe now they don't as much. But that was when she was first born. That was one of their biggest concerns. The reason her eye was messed up was because there might have been a tumor behind her eye. But there wasn't. As Brenda says, she has a what she said there.
Philamonic. A little eye.
Yeah, it's a little eye. Right. That's hers didn't grow all the way and it didn't develop fully in her retina. We used to be able to
That's
see it.
easier to say, little eye.
Little eye, yeah, it does. And I think Kelly learned to say that though when she was little. I'm not positive. It seems like she did. Because she used to tell kids that, what are you looking at? You ain't never seen nobody born with one eye. And that kind of stuff. She was kind of tough back then. I'm almost surprised she wasn't hitting anybody. Jen probably would have. Jen might not have put up with any kind of guff if it had been her. Well, if you said it happened right after you guys got married, Tina, he's had it for a long time. Then he's adjusted to it, I'm sure. You know, they also say that if they could, like Kelly's eye at one time, when there was thought that somewhere down the road it might be fixable, which is really not. They don't. Of all the things they do, eye transplants are not one of them. And but you know, if it was, we always kind of thought by the time she was a teenager or a young woman that, you know, surely we would be doing that. And there Brenda's telling the whole story. She got her mother's temper. You talking about my wife? She'd probably tell you that Jennifer got that from me, Ian, if you're talking about us. Anyway, Brenda said that was, yeah, she was 2 weeks old when we went through that. I think we were both scared to death. Yeah, it happened when he was 22. What I was going to say was, at some point, they said Kelly might not even want to do it if they could fix it, because her body and her brain and everything that's attached to that eye would have to completely readjust to two eyes and that kind of vision, telescopic vision, as opposed to one eye that she'd learned to. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, you learn things. You know, when you're fairly young parents and you have something like that happen, and you're just not sure what you did wrong, you know. I was worried for the longest time that it had something to do with the chemicals and stuff I worked around, Carol. I probably never told Brenda that, but I know this is irrational and stupid, but I'd gotten, the year was born, year Brenda got pregnant with her, I had a bunch of stuff splashed in my eyes and shit, and I thought, oh God, I hope that's not what caused it. Yeah, Brenda's temper's a slow burn, but man, when it goes off, get out of the way. I know to leave town. It was scary, Carol, and I'll never forget her crying. I mean, she was 2 weeks old, laying there just screaming until they, you know, got her anesthetized to some degree, but you can't really do much of that for a 2-week-old baby. Hey, Lori Jean Carlson, Happy New Year's Eve to you too. No, it wasn't, Diana, but you know, for a long time I kind of carried that guilt around, thinking I might have done something, you know, that caused it, and of course that's not the case, but still, it's, you know, you feel guilty for things you've. I might have thought somebody was trying to get even with me for something else I'd done. And if you grow up in the rural South, you got to be careful being what you're told as a youngin', because everything you do wrong, somebody's going to come and get you or make you pay. There's always a booger in the wood pile or under the house that's going to come up and grab you, or, you know, the good Lord's going to spot you down, or
some kind of hanks.
Hanks, yeah.
Cosmically, you got to pay for everything.
That's right. true, man, my bill's going to be terrible. Well, I say that. I don't think my terrible things are near as terrible as a lot of other people's, but he said, yep, I used to be a little like that until the doctor said, that's why I have ulcers. Now I blow just as bad, just more often. See, it's better to get it out. Brenda hates it because I get loud and I don't mean to. I'm loud anyway, and then if I get mad about something, I get even louder, and then she just turns off to it. And I got that from my own dad. I'm pretty sure. My mom was a spitfire too, but she got mad. But Dad was the kind to get mad and holler about something, and I guess I got that from him. Well, like I said, when you're a young parent and something like that happens, I mean, you're always looking for causation or, there's got to be a reason something like that happens. And the truth of the matter is, it's just one of those things. I mean, it could have been anything, and it could have been, we always looked at it like it could have been far, far worse than that. I mean, so what? I always wanted her to be extra careful and things she did about that. And I tried my best to get her to wear, like, if she was doing anything physical activity, I always wanted her to wear, goggles or some kind of a stylish goggle to, protect her eyes because she ain't got but one to lose. And that'd be rough. Anyway, that's not really a happy thing. I mean, that's not, well, it's happy to talk about. She's well adjusted and she don't have a problem with it. Yeah, you got to do that, Mike. You got to look at the bright side for things like that. No, it'll just wear you down. And most of the time, truth is, there wouldn't be anything you could do about just about any of that. Karma, yeah, Brenda said, got it right. Karma's a bitch. And she can be too. Whew. Thing about karma is you're never sure if she's going to, get even right away or if she's going to let you worry about it for a few years and then get even, but, then have it happen. Mark, any mooses in the yard lately?
Pardon? Sorry, I was looking.
Mike asked if you'd had any mooses in the yard lately.
Yeah, we got. My wife saw one, I think, yesterday, maybe. Wasn't in the yard; it was in the pasture. But
so she didn't get attacked on her way to
they're hanging about. They're just not in the yard right now. The shrubs are better outside of the yard. They already ate what they wanted in our yard.
They already picked all the good stuff.
We weren't happy with them, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Tina, the worrying's always worse. So is all the hunting season over out there now?
For us?
Yeah.
Oh, we got seasons that go clear the end of January now.
Do you? Big game seasons?
And then rabbit season goes clear through March.
Well, I wasn't counting that one. All the rabbits don't come to the yard.
We have lots of elk seasons that go to the end of January because we have so many elk we don't know what to do with them. So, yeah. There's plenty of stuff still happening.
And yet it's still hard to get an elk tag. Or is it? For an outsider anyway.
No, not if it's like a cow tag. There's gazillions of them. It's hard to get them in specific spots if you want, like up here in my backyard. Duck season, no wabbit season.
Wabbit season.
Shoot me, I'm a fiddler crab. It's fiddler crab season.
Be very, very quiet.
That's one of the greatest set of dialogue on a cartoon ever right there.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits. Kill the wabbit. We
actually have rabbits this year, so it's numbers are back up. They're coming back up.
You have to worry about I don't know what your seasons are. Do you have a spring and a fall season or year-round season on those
The
games?
rabbit?
I'm not going to play it, Ian. I don't want to lose my I don't want to lose my stream today. Yeah, rabbits.
It starts September 1st and goes through the end of March.
Okay, so not warm season stuff then.
No summertime stuff.
Yeah, okay. You have to worry about anything.
Well, most of the states south of us, though, they don't have. It's open year round.
Really?
In Mexico, Arizona, all those places.
Is that so you can just shoot jackrabbits all the time? I mean,
well, they don't even consider them the same. They're not the same critter.
Well, I know they're not the same critter, but
our we don't have a season for jackrabbits here. We have 2 species of jackrabbits, but they're just quote unquote varmints. You just shoot them whenever you want to.
Okay.
But it's always been interesting. Guys used to cut their hay out here and just loose stack it. Great big giant loose stacks. Huh?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And they'd use those beaver slide stackers and make those giant stacks of loose hay. And then you fenced it. And then when you wanted your cattle to eat it, you'd just open that stackyard up and let the cows have it. If the elk or the moose or the deer or whatever didn't beat you to it. But I've seen those stacks covered with hundreds of jackrabbits. Just one stack.
Really?
And they eat a lot of hay. And so they've always been jackrabbits, at least in Wyoming, have always been varmints because of that.
So the states south of you that have year-round seasons, you're talking about cottontails.
So cottontail, yeah. So they're the states in the South have, in the Southwest at least, have year-round cottontail seasons. They're still game animal. You still got to buy a license for them.
Right.
But they're just open year-round.
That's interesting.
Which is always interesting to me because of disease issues.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought that was the primary one of the primary.
You'll get tularemia or something.
Yeah. Huh.
Which came from California. I mean, that's where the disease was found, in California, in Tulare County. That's
where the name comes.
That's where the name comes from, and it ain't no good for a person to get that. So
I wonder when that came into the world. Has that been there since we settled California?
Probably been there forever in rabbits.
So it wasn't carried in by Europeans.
I don't think it's a European disease. I think it's a North American disease.
American disease. Yeah, North American disease.
I mean, we had our own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. There's so many things got brought in that killed.
Europeans didn't bring everything bad over here.
I think they did, but okay. I'll agree. Well, it seems that way sometimes. I mean, diseases that are here. Well, and that's tularemia is probably an example. I mean, it doesn't kill. I mean, it's kind of a.
So yes, Tina, they've warned against handling. You need to handle cottontails carefully if it's warmer weather, especially warmer weather. You gotta, you want to wear gloves and you handle them. You wash them good and thoroughly, and then you cook them good. And then they're fine, but you can't. You don't want to be like eating a bologna sandwich in one hand and skinning a rabbit in the other.
For example.
The
year I worked in the building, the part of the year I worked helping build the. I hate to call it a slaughterhouse. It seemed more a packing house. The one up at near up towards Mahoney's part of the country. Jim Sale had it, and SELL. And we added on to it double the size of it, put it in a big freezer, all kinds of stuff like that. But one of the things that I never forget was walking by the kill floor. Now, the kill floor is exactly what it sounds like. It's where they kill things. And they bring cattle in one end. And pardon me again, vegetarians are welcome to close their ears for a minute. Maybe I should have got a note sign for this too. But they bring them in the door, pop them in the head, start draining the blood out, and start right there. They start skinning them and doing everything they do, and then they go on from there, and then into the cooler. But those guys, the dinner bell, the lunch bell, whatever you want to call it, would ring. And those guys would just wash their hands off, sit right down there by their cutting tools, and have lunch, and it wasn't uncommon to have a bologna sandwich or a hamburger it didn't bother them guys not one little bit. Just sat there right by what used to be Bossy and, have a bite of lunch.
Mike said he's never going to look at a bologna sandwich the same way again.
Sorry, Mike. I feel bad when I run over rabbits with my big truck. Oh, I don't like to run over anything, Mike. I'm that way, and
I'll darn near like kill myself to avoid chipmunks and what.
I will too, and
I don't like hitting little songbirds. I don't.
And I hit several with my truck. I had birds flying in the front of my truck several times. But that rabbit, squirrel, I hate to hit them with a car. I just feel like that's the ultimate insult, is to run over something like that with your car. Of all things.
Wasteful.
Even if you can eat roadkill in your state, a smashed squirrel or a rabbit on the road after a big truck runs over it, there's not much left there to eat. Hey there, Dave. Welcome in, Adventures by D. Ooh, Mike. Ooh, Mike. Carol said, when you hit one or two, they sure go splats. Oh, me. How are you doing, Dave? Are you planning a big night tonight? Sure, Mike and squirrels. In fact, I feel even worse now since I've been counting squirrels. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. I hate to hit all of them, and squirrels drive me crazy sometimes, but I still hate to hit them with my car. Now, would I shoot one in the head? Probably. But I'd also skin it and eat it, so. Pretty quiet tonight, huh? Yeah, we'll be here too, I'm sure. I stayed up really late last night, so if football's on late tonight, I'll probably be recording it. Well, what did we do without VCRs and DVRs? Well, DVRs, I don't use a VCR anymore. I don't guess anybody does, but much. I guess, well, never mind. I won't say that. I don't know that to be true or false. Hey, buddy, I just got my arm licked. I wasn't even paying attention. Teddy's laying here cleaning my arm for me. He wants to know what I'm doing wearing this shirt with long sleeves.
UGA versus OSU.
Do what? Yeah, they're playing OSU. I think that's a 4:00 game. No, I think that's the second game, isn't it?
8 p.m.
Okay, 8 p.m. Yeah. Oh man, I keep wanting to say Alabama. They're not even playing in that championship. Michigan went to Carroll. When's the other game? Good time to go out and shop whenever UGA is on the TV. Stores are empty.
It's earlier.
That's a good point, Dave. I used to think kind of that way when Tennessee was playing here in town too. What did you say about?
My bride just came up the steps from the basement she didn't used to touch them, but we get mice in the house in the basement, and she's got a trap line going.
Does she? You just got regular like house mice out there, gray Russian type mouse, or you got something native?
No, they're deer mice.
Deer mice.
They're
Right.
hantavirus carrying, no count varmints.
Do they have much? You have much problem with? Yeah, Tennessee did play well last night, Dave. They had a good game. I thought it was, I thought it was a decent game on both sides, but they just outplayed them, which I like because there's some teams I really like to see them beat. But I don't ever, I usually don't necessarily pull for South Carolina, but I had to pull for them yesterday because they were playing the Golden Helmet guys.
They whooped them too, didn't they?
They were at them right till the end, but they lost on a field goal at the end of the game.
Wow.
They were ahead of them big time at halftime. Then they let Notre Dame come back on them, and then they lost. I don't think it was overtime. I think it was a regulation, but it's right at the end. He's talking about the game that's in the Mercedes-Benz Peach Bowl, whatever they call it down there now. It replaced the old Atlanta stadium. That thing's got the neatest roof. The roof closes, but it's an iris like a camera. They said that was really. I talked to some guys that worked on that, or talked to some guys that knew about it. They were talking about how hard that was to build because all those controls had to move exactly right. If one moved a little bit out of sync with the others, it jammed the whole thing up. But it's really cool to watch it open and close. It's neat. Right, Diana, the day goes so slow when you just sit. Yeah, oh, it's so bad. Let me tell you about life in retirement. Some days. Sadly, I work at an Ohio-based pizza company, so we'll be busy. Ohio-based. Are you in Ohio now, Rhonda? Or you just work for that company? Probably not supposed to say them on here, are you? Yeah, I am too, Rhonda, but I think it was wide open last night when I saw it, or yesterday when I saw somebody else played in it this week, but I don't remember who it was. I thought you were still in Atlanta. Well, guys, it's going on noon, and football starts at noon. Tim, do you have any trips planned in the summer going anywhere? I don't know yet, Mike. I'd like to say yes. Because sometime this year, I'm going to go out and spend some time with Mark. And if we make that a road trip, Brendan and I'll probably do a little bit of traveling. I'm not sure where all we'll go yet. If we ever get started traveling around, we'll have to come to Canada sooner or later. If we do, we'll have to look you guys up or something. But what I wish I could tell you was I have a motorcycle trip planned for the summer, but as of right now, that's not planned and may not happen or ever again. Hey, Ian, thank you for being here, buddy. I'm really glad to see you again. We missed you, and we're a little bit concerned when we missed you there for a bit. Glad to know it's just work-related and, something in general you got over. Yes, Mike, we did. In fact, I had company last night, and I picked I picked up a card from Canada in my mailbox last night, and I didn't open it because Phil was here, and we got busy talking, and now I can't find it. I moved all my stuff off my desk before we had pizza, not my desk, my little workbench thing here. Uh-oh. It's here. I'm glad you mentioned that because I meant to open it up and say, and I want to thank everybody we got a card from. And if I didn't get you one, You're welcome to send me your address, and I'll be glad to put you on the list. Tina, I don't know if I sent. Yeah, I sent you one, I think. I didn't send Mark one, though. I'm ashamed to say it. I can't find Diane and Mike's. But I did get it, and it's laying here. I will find it. I did get it, and like I said, I had to move everything last night to make room for, which means, I'm probably cluttered up way beyond more than what I should be anyway, but we won't go there this morning. I'll find it. I may have sent it upstairs with Brenda. Most of the time she gets the mail. So I will get it, and I will send it up. I will, but I do really appreciate it. I told Brenda, I said, "Oh, here we got some Canadian mail." Wow, did it really, Mike? That's amazing. I just got it yesterday. That's why I'm not sure where I laid it down. I picked it up last night when I came back from grabbing pizza. I drove by the mailbox and in there, but I don't know what I did with it. I thought I put it right here. Look here what I found. Does that look familiar? Is this right? Yeah, Canadian stamp. A Volkswagen with a Christmas tree on the back. Well, no, that's a Fiat. Thank you guys. Really appreciate that. Tying packages on top of cars getting to be a lost art. I just lost Mark. Okay, gonna get off here. My behind parts are hurting, so I'm gonna call it a night day, and I'm gonna get ready for football. And I think that Michigan game starts at noon, doesn't it, Carol? Oh, well, send it out. Well, don't send it out to the world, Rhonda, but I don't know if I've got your address or not. Thanks everybody for being here this morning. I hope everybody has a joyous and happy new year, and be like me. Don't make any resolutions, or not be like me and make all you want and see if you can keep them. I just don't make them because I know I won't keep all of them. But I hope everybody has a great time, and next week shows will probably start having a little bit more structure again, if I ever had any. And then Squirrel Counting can restart officially for the new year. We'll see how that goes. Yes, 4. What's 4? Is that when their game starts at 4? Thank you, Tina. Happy New Year to you too, Rhonda. See you guys. We'll be back next week. The good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. See you then. Meantime, watch your scalp.